Hello everyone, my name is Christopher Liam Rose. I'm an author, mentor, life coach, motivational speaker, evangelist and activist. Now in this audio I've got a very important message to share, and this message becomes so important to those people that want to help other people, give back, make a difference and a contribution. And this message is very, very important, really important. And the message I'm going to be sharing this evening is called Spiritual Change is Now. Now, I have been talking about this within my books, within my videos, within my, work that I do in the helping other people, giving back and making a difference, right? Now, it's important to learn that spiritual change is now. Before we get into the topic of what spiritual change is, right, because it's a very serious thing to really understand. The important thing about spiritual change, and when you have gone through a spiritual change, you will spiritually help other people, give back, make a difference and a contribution into people's lives. Now, this is what gets a lot of people confused at the moment, because they'll go, spiritual change? What's that about? What is spiritual change? How do you spiritually change? What jobs do I need to do to spiritually change? What career do I need to be in to spiritually change? What volunteering do I need to be into to spiritually change? What do I need to do? How do I need to live? What do I need to do to spiritually change? Now, I want to get this message as simple as possible this evening, right? Spiritual change is a natural process, right? So this is what gets things very simple. It's a natural process. It's very natural, right? Once you do the work of helping other people, giving back and making a difference, and I'm trying to get the messages clearly available for people this evening, right? Once you do the work of helping other people, giving back and making a difference, slowly you will go through a process of spiritual change. If you don't go through the process of spiritual change, it means you haven't helped enough people in what they were going through, right? So this is when things gets very serious for those people who can do it, right? I don't want to go too deep into like different religions or different philosophies or different spirituality or faithful things. I'll just say that some people have talked about the spiritual change in different ways, right? Some say the anointing, some say the enlightenment, some say the spirituality, some say just faith, right? When you look at life a bit differently, right, which has always been my messages from a number of years that I've been sharing. When you look at life a bit differently, right? I'm not saying that look, you can't have a career, can't have volunteering, can't have a business, can't have a faith or spiritual opportunity, can't have a family, friends, loved ones, spouse, husband, wife, boyfriend, girlfriend, car, motorbike, clothes, possessions, food, drinks. I don't deny any human beings of that, because I think for human beings, all of those things can be very important. Career, job, employment, volunteering, business, family, friends, loved ones, husband, wife, spouse, children, boyfriend, girlfriend, community, and that can be very important for people, of course. But only for those spiritual people who can really make a difference and a contribution into others, you will have to look at life a bit differently. And when you look at life a bit differently, this is what really inspires the spiritual change. Now, people say, I'm just going to explain what people say so it doesn't come across rude. People will say, but look at my life, this is going on, this is the situation within my life. I'm struggling for money, I'm struggling for a relationship, I don't have a job. Oh, look at me. And there's a big difference when it comes to the spiritual change, and this is what the big difference is. When you focus on the self, which is, and I'm trying not to be rude to people at all. That's not the way I talk or anything like that. I'm just getting the message across in the audio. If you focus on the self, you will live a life for the self, which is what I normally call in my books, audios, videos, messages that I do for others. The self is where the suffering, the pain, adversities are. People say, but how can you say the self is where the suffering, pain, and adversities are? That doesn't make sense because we all have a self. Now, this is what I was trying to explain in the audio from the very beginning. When you think about the spiritual change, you have no more self within you. That doesn't mean you don't go through problems. That doesn't mean you don't go through life challenges. That doesn't mean you don't go through struggles. It doesn't necessarily mean you don't go through suffering, pains, adversities, difficulties, challenges, losing things, suffering things, going through emotions, going through feelings. It doesn't mean you won't go through that, because for human beings, we all are going to go through something, right? It's just that slight difference in what I'm saying. When you go through a spiritual change, you have no more self within you. So what does it mean to have no more self within you? It basically means a no self. No self is also selflessness. No self and selflessness comes to people who have gone through a spiritual change. They're not focused on, but this is my career, and this is my volunteering, and this is my business, this is my family, these are my friends, these are my loved ones, these are my companions, these are important to me. Okay, like I said, when the self is a part of you, you'll be living for the self. If you change your mindset, if you change your behavior, if you change your personality, if you change your characteristics, if you change your mentality, then you'll look at life a bit differently. And when you look at life a bit differently, this is what you really find. Faith and spirituality. Because people say, look, how can you say look at life a bit differently? But I've got my family, isn't it? I've got my friends, isn't it? I've got my job, my career, my business, isn't it? I've got this to look after, that to look after. I've got to pay for my bills every day. I've got to hang out. I've got to socialize, I've got this going on. I'm going to university, school, college, Oh, that's going on. I've got this situation I need to sort out, and that situation I need to sort out. That's all to do with the self. That's all to do with the self. When you live life for the self, you'll always be living life for yourself. So, what's the reality of spiritual change? Spiritual change means you do not live a life for yourself. It means you transcend living a life for yourself. It means you're not focused about money, house, car, friends, relationships, food, drink, spouse, boyfriend, girlfriend, money, possessions, holidays, food, drinks. You've transcended all of that. You're not thinking about none of that. You don't want any of those things. Now, I'm not necessarily telling people don't get what you need, right? Because at the same time as I'm sharing this today, I'm not gonna tell people don't get what you need. You'll need certain things in your life, right? You'll probably need a home, right? You'll probably need a car. You'll probably need a house. You'll probably need some food and drinks. You probably will need a spouse, husband, wife, and you'll probably need children, and you'll probably need a boyfriend and a girlfriend, a job, a career. You'll need those things, which is very important for people, right? Which is important for all people. Most of the people need those things. When you change your perspective of things, when you change the way you're living within your life, when you change the word that I'll use it's a difficult word to really learn, but I will say it. When you change the way you're thinking, I'll just repeat that again. When you change the way you are thinking, then you'll see something else. And what did I say what you would see when you see something else? Faith and spirituality. What does it mean to have faith and spirituality? It means that you've overcome the self. You're not worried about the self. You're not concerned, like I said earlier, with food, drinks, holidays, car, motorbike, money, boyfriend, girlfriend, husband, wife, children, and spouse. You've transcended all of that. You're not worried about none of that. It'll never concern you within your life. That I'm not saying, when I say it doesn't concern you or anything like that, it doesn't mean you won't have those things, because like I've said before, most people have those things, right? So you will have those things. But the question that I will have in this audio, when will you transcend all of that? When will you look at faith and spirituality? When will you look at spiritual change? When will you look at, okay, instead of going, my bigger career, my bigger business, my bigger volunteering, when will you transcend all of that? Spiritual people have transcended all of that. They're not concerned with the daily living of things. They're not. I'm not. And it's not. As I'm sharing this audio today, it comes across very rude, doesn't it? How can you say like spiritual people don't worry about those things, but they really don't, because when you've gone through a spiritual change, there's no more self. You know yourself. You understand who you are as a human being. You understand spiritually helping other people and giving back and making a sort of difference. When you know yourself, that produces selflessness. Know yourself. Selflessness comes from a spiritual change. So all human beings must go through a spiritual change within their life. If you don't go through a spiritual change within your life, it means you haven't been supporting people in what they were going through. Now I can talk about the topic of the 5 levels of helping other people. I'm going to be very brief in this audio today. I could go on for a long time talking about this, but I'm going to be very, very brief. 5 levels of helping other people. Now, when I said in the beginning of the audio, spiritual change is now. You've got to spiritually change now. This isn't something you wait until, I'm going to be, I'm not saying this in a rude way neither. I'm going to be like, how can I put it? I'm going to be within my 50s and 60s and 70s and 80s and 90s before I go through a spiritual change now. A spiritual change now means now. It means today, like I've been discussing in my books, my audios, my videos, and my messages. A spiritual change now, today, right now. Now, when we have to think about this before we really understand the spiritual change. And what we have to think about, if we do go through the spiritual change, which I'm trying to inspire as many people as I can to go for a spiritual change. I'm really trying to inspire that, right? But if we are going to go for a spiritual change, then what do we need to do? Which is the question, isn't it? Now people say, what do you mean by what do we need to do? I don't know. I've got my career, I've got my massive business, I've got volunteering, I've got my friends, my loved ones, my companions, my family, my children, my husband, my wife, my spouse, my boyfriend, my girlfriend, cars, motorbikes, clothes, possessions, Okay. But what we need to focus on if we've gone for a spiritual change is spiritually helping other people in what they are going through. I repeat it. So what we need to focus on and this is for the person that has. I'm not necessarily saying for the people that I haven't, because they wouldn't understand this. They just don't get it. They haven't learned the important things in life, so they will never understand. I'm talking to those people that have gone through a spiritual change. That's my encouragement, right? Now, for the people that have gone through a spiritual change, what do you need to do? Spiritually help other people in what they are going through. And when I mean spiritually help other people in what they are going through, I'm talking about doing the 5 levels of helping other people here. And people say, but, okay. I've got my career, I've got my business, okay. We get that. We get that some people have a career. We get that some people have a business. We get that some people have volunteering. We get that. But where will you see the faith? Where will you see the spirituality? Where will you see the contribution? If it goes back to what I said earlier, if you're constantly living for the self. So, spiritual change. Basically, this is as simple as it gets when I mean spiritual change. Spiritual change means helping other people in what they're going through. It becomes simple, yes, as I've just said it so simply, helping other people in what they are going through. It sounds simple, it does sound very simple. It's more harder to do it. Does that make sense? It could sound simple, yes. It can sound like very. You're just saying spiritual change is helping other people in what they are going through. Like I said, it may sound simple, doesn't it? But it's more harder to do. So how do you do it? This is the question, isn't it? This is the question that. Look, it's not. I'll put it in the audio as well, please. This is the question that so many people are trying to find the answer to, right? How do you spiritually help other people in what they are going through? Every book's been talking about it. Every video's basically been talking about it. Whatever people listen to, podcasts, audio, books, videos, conferences, stages, messages. It's all talking about the same thing. The slight difference is who are going to do it. Who will rise up to do it. Who will be the ones that actually do it. So, but I'm going to do it in my business. I'm going to do it in my volunteering. I'm going to do it in my career. I'm going to do it in this. Okay, but who are the ones that are going to do it? Now, 5 levels of helping other people. This is basically the way you help other people, right? I'm not saying this is the way how you get lots of money. No, I'm not saying this is the way how you become more successful. No, I'm not saying this is the way you become more wealthier. No, I'm not saying this is the way you become more richer. No. I'm just saying this is the way you help other people. So the 5 levels of helping other people, which I'm going to explain briefly. 5 levels. Level 1, volunteering and helping other people, the good level in helping other people. Level 2, jobs, careers, and employment in helping other people, the great level in helping other people. Level 3, business and entrepreneurships in helping other people, the highest level in helping other people. Very good. Level 4, faith and spiritual levels in helping other people, the spiritual level in helping other people. Very good. Level 5, spiritually helping other people who helping other people, the teaching level in helping other people. Level 5. So as I get this audio very clear in this message today, right, and this is basically my encouragement for the listeners. If you do want to go through a spiritual change, which I do, look, for me as a young person saying this, I'm not saying, look, you will achieve all your dreams and desires just because you're helping other people. I'm not saying that your life will become better, your life will become more inspirational, your life will become more motivational. I'm just saying within the audio, these are the 5 levels of helping other people. And for this person that's making this audio today, there is 5 levels. If you want to go through a process, I've always called it a process. I don't call it like oh, you're gonna be a millionaire, you're gonna be successful, you're gonna be prosperous, you're gonna be rich, you're gonna be wealthy. No, I don't. That's got nothing to do with spiritually helping other people. So I don't call it, you're going to be rich, you're going to be successful, you're going to be prosperous, you're going to be wealthy, you're going to have a lot in your life. Look at you. I don't, as a young person making this audio, those are the things that are not spiritually helping other people. So you can't focus on materialistic things, or should I say, the self, if you spiritually want to help other people. If you spiritually want to help other people, my encouragement and my messages are always saying, go through the 5 levels of helping other people. And when I say go through the 5 levels of helping other people, I mean going through the process. That means level 1, level 2, level 3, level 4, level 5. Going through the process of spiritually helping other people. Now, people say, look, but yeah, I can't do that. Why is this young person telling me to help other people? I don't want to help other people. I've got my family, I've got my career, I've got my business. I don't. Why is this young person telling me to help other people? Why? You don't see the spiritual difference you can make unless you spiritually help other people in what they are going through. So you help other people in what they are going through. That quality of it, right, makes you not think about yourself at all. You will never think about yourself when you're spiritually helping other people. That's what I said. It's the spiritual change is now within your life, right? Don't wait until you're older to do it. If you're young listening to this message, don't wait until you're older to do it. If you're older, don't wait until you're even older than you already are to do it. Do it today. The encouragement is for today. This message is for today. Do it now. Make your difference now. Now people go, do you know what? This just sounds so complicated. What makes this more simple is this. And this will help you to do the spiritual levels of helping other people, right? 5 spiritual practices. if you do the 5 spiritual practices, you'll develop the qualities. And look, let me. Before I even get into this part of the audio, I just want to share this quite briefly, right? Now, I'm not telling people what to do, so let's just put that in the audio. So I'm not telling people what to do, so I'm not, right? I'm not saying, look, you have to be older to do it or you have to be younger to do it. It's got nothing to do with the spiritual difference. All my books, all my videos, all my messages, everything that this young person has done in helping other people is focused on one thing: helping other people in what they are going through. And when I say helping other people in what they are going through, that doesn't necessarily mean me, because I'm helping other people in what they are going through, right? This is what I'm saying. You need to develop the 5 spiritual practices. I have spoken about this. I think I have. Did I not write a book about this? I have written a book about this. The 5 spiritual practices. You basically look. No human being can just help other people like that, right? Let me put it to you this way. This message is still going on, but let me put it to you this way. No human being can just help other people like that. It's not going to happen that way, right? And if it does happen that way, they will go through the self and go through the problems of life. So it's not going to happen that way. You have to develop yourself. You have to learn for yourself. You have to study for yourself. No audio, no book, no video, no podcast, no conference, stage, talk will show you how to do it. It's something you've got to discover for yourself. So how do you discover it for yourself? You do the 5 spiritual practices. Now, the question is, what are the 5 spiritual practices? What is it really? What it's so simple. It can sound so simple, but you'll meet a lot of people that haven't done it. What are the 5 spiritual practices to do in your life to help you? Basically, look. As I'm making this audio, right? I'm not saying like it's gonna be an easy journey. This is why I'm trying to prepare the listeners who are listening. It is not going to be an easy journey to spiritually help other people and do the 5 levels of helping other people. If someone says to you, "Oh, do you know what? It's just going to be easy, and there's no hardship. There's no you're not going to lose something. You're not going to go through something. You're not going to feel something or experience something. You're not going to have no feelings and emotions. It's going to be easy. You're just going to work and then go home and then hang out and then work and then go home." There's more to the learning that I'm trying to prepare you for, right? So it comes back to this. What are the 5 spiritual practices? It's just 5. There's no more than 5 that I've, as a young person, that I've learnt myself. 5. So what are they? Prayer, mindfulness, meditation, journaling, walking. 5 spiritual practices. Now, people say, but what, 5 spiritual practices? I haven't got the time to do that, have I? You'll be surprised with the 5 spiritual practices how much it will change you. Let me repeat it again. Let me repeat it again. You will be surprised with the 5 spiritual practices how much it changes you, because that's what brings the qualities. If you don't do the 5 spiritual practices before you're helping other people, right? And this is what some people have got into the work. Okay, we get that. Some people are doing it every single day. We get that. Some people are helping, like contributing. Okay, we get that. But for my experience and for my learning, the 5 spiritual practices must be done in your life before you help other people. So it's not, look, this is what I'm trying to get across. It's not just jumping into a volunteering or jumping into a career or jumping into a business or jumping into faith and spiritual opportunities or jumping into spiritually helping other people who helping other people. You have to go through the process. You have to go through the process. You have to spend time learning about yourself first, right? You don't learn about yourself when you're with other people. You don't learn about yourself when you're in the communities. You don't learn about yourself when you're with the crowd of other human beings. You learn about yourself when you make time and spend time for yourself and make sure you do the 5 spiritual practices for yourself. That's how you learn about yourself. And if you don't learn about yourself, then how can you spiritually help other people? So what is the inspiration then? The inspiration is spiritually change now. Don't think, oh, but I've got this career and my friends. Look, when you learn what I'm sharing with you this evening, when you truly learn it, right? When you truly learn it, and I'm gonna say this before we finish, right? When you truly learn it, I'm just saying this with a bit of confidence. When you truly learn what I'm saying in this audio, you will realize that it's not about family, it's not about friends, it's not about a house, it's not about a car, it's not about money, it's not about income, it's not about wealth, it's not about success, it's not about prosperity, it's not about riches, it's not about materialistic things. It's got nothing to do with that, right? You have to, like, it goes back to what I've been sharing in the audio already. You've got to think differently. You've got to behave differently. You've got to change your characteristics. You've got to change your personality. You've got to change your mentality to learn something different. And when you learn something different, that's when faith and spirituality comes into the equation. Now people will say, look, faith is just religion. Spirituality is just religion. From my own experience, from what I'm sharing today, it does help, of course. Faith and spirituality is not religion. It's something you discover within yourself. You have to discover it within yourself. No, like, it goes back to what I said in the message earlier, does it? I can't tell you how to discover it for yourself. I can't tell you you must follow my path in life. I can't tell you this is the secret of your own life. I can't do that because it goes to the individuals who want to go through the spiritual change. And if you want to go through the spiritual change, remember these words that I'm saying in this audio. You have got to make a difference. You have got to make a contribution. You need to serve and make a certain impact. And if you serve and make a certain impact, and if you make a certain difference, you will realize it's not about family, it's not about friends, it's not about money, it's not about finance, it's not about wealth, it's not about success, it's not about prosperity, it's not about riches, it's not about materialistic things. It's got nothing to do with that. So my message is simple for this evening. I'm happy I've share this audio today. My message is this. It's a very simple message. If you want to help other people give back and make a difference, a contribution, we know the majority of the people call it a contribution. If you want to make a contribution, if you really do, my encouragement is this: spiritually change first. If you spiritually change first before you make your contributions, this is what you will learn when you spiritually change first. Life has a way of helping those people who have spiritually changed. Life has a way of being for people who have spiritually changed. Life has a way of, how can I word it? Giving people who have spiritually changed more inspiration. Because people say, that doesn't sound right. What do you mean, like, oh, life helps those people that are spiritually changed? Life helps those people who have spiritually changed? It's a spiritual thing, it's a faithful thing. The qualities that I said in the audio, the 5 spiritual practices, help you to be spiritual, help you to be faithful, help you to develop the qualities. And listen to the secret of this. It's not the qualities that somebody tells you. It's not the qualities of somebody that helps you. It's the qualities that you discover within yourself. So nobody has to tell you it. Nobody has to teach it to you. Nobody has to inspire you to do it. It's the qualities you find within yourself. It's something you find within. Spiritual people have learned that real, and this is what spiritual people have learned. Real life transformation, that's the word I'm using, right? Comes when you know yourself. When you know yourself, you're more spiritual that way because you've known yourself. And it goes back to what I said earlier in the audio. Know self, selflessness is the quality of spiritual change. When you go through know self and selflessness, you become more spiritual and faithful. I'm not going to go. I was going to say something quite hurtful, but I'll choose not to do that. I'll just say this. It's not hurtful to me because I've gone through the process, but to other people it would be. I'm just going to say this briefly, not too much longer, but briefly. When we look at the world and society today, and the reason why I'm sharing this is just to get the message across. When we look at the world and society today, right, and if you have become spiritual, you will learn this. When we look at the world and society today, we can see that people are not spiritual. We can see that people are not faithful. We can see that hundreds, thousands, millions and billions of people never discovered it because they didn't want to go through the process. So that's the secret. The secret is going through the process, basically. People, look, everyone has their, like, what's the word for it? Their definition of it, right? You're gonna be a millionaire. You're going to be a billionaire. You're going to be well off. You're going to be the best person in the world. You're going to be so successful. It's got nothing to do with that. That is what spiritual people have learned. It's got nothing to do with success, prosperity, and riches and wealth. That is what that is what spiritual people have learned. It's more to do with the spiritual difference, the impact, contribution. That's why you have to change your thinking. If you don't change your thinking, you can't do the 5 levels of helping other people. And if you can't do the 5 levels of helping other people, it means you haven't made your difference. You haven't until you've done the 5 levels of helping other people. You cannot say to yourself that you've made your difference. The 5 levels of helping other people is how you make your difference. But it goes back to what I said in the audio before we finish. I can't tell another human being how to do it. I can inspire, I can encourage it, but I cannot necessarily say to a human being, do it like this and you'll make your difference. Do it like that and you will make your difference. Be like this and you will make your... I can't do that. That's why when you're spiritual enough and faithful enough, you can realize, you'll realize this. You'll realize this. There's a certain grace, love, empathy, compassion, kindness, gentleness, inspiration when you've gone through a spiritual change. So my message is simple for today. It's quite a long... I think I've spent a long time with this message. I think I have actually spent a long time with this message. Yeah, I have. It's been quite a long one, this one. But the message is simple. Spiritually change now. If you spiritually change now, or should I say spiritual change is now, then slowly you'll make your contributions. And before we finish, what is life about then? What is life about? Is life about the successfuler you become, the richer you become, the wealthier you become, the family that you have, the relationships that you have, the stuff that you have? Is that what is that what life is all about? Again, the more successful you become, the wealthier you've made, the richer you are, the stuff that you have, the family you have. Is that what life is all about? Or do we have a different way of viewing things? And when you're spiritual enough, a different way of viewing things is this. The spiritual contributions is what life is all about. So your life, really, if you really want to discover it, spiritual contributions is what life is really all about. If you spiritually contribute, you are overcoming the self. You are overcoming selfishness. You are overcoming that. Like I said earlier within the audio, you will transcend all of that. Then you become faithful. Then you become spiritual. Then you're making a massive impact. You can't make a massive impact if you haven't gone through the process. So my encouragement is, go through the process. Go for it. It will be hard. There are days when you will struggle, but still go through the process. Finished my audio now. I'm happy to make it, and the message is simple. Spiritual change is now. So thank you for listening now. Bye bye now.